Nice.
They're gonna kill me. I play the song too slow, and they're just like, I know they're back there like horses, like, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. It's different, yeah.
It felt nice. So,
yeah, it was a little different.
Well, this dynamic is a little bit different because you guys are pretty high octane. How's everybody feeling? Y'all all right? Y'all digging it?
Yeah.
I want to just turn around like this when he starts playing. So if I do that,
just, if you don't mind,
just keep the video camera off of me when I do that.
Just make sure they're awake back there every now and then. So.
That's right. That's right. Okay, so Rex, you mentioned the military tie-in. You've mentioned the rodeo days. Where did you grow up?
I actually grew up in Marlin, a little bit southeast Waco, not too far from here actually.
I can't even tell you. When I lived in Cedar Hill, Texas, back when it was a small town, and I would drive from Cedar Hill to College Station where I was going to school. I don't know how many tickets I got in Marlin.
Yeah, that's all the income they have.
Watch the speed limit in Marlin. That's
yeah, they'll get you over there. I mean, they got to make money. Like I said, it used to be a bustling little town. There's a lot of cattle and horse industry over there. And of course, the cattle industry kind of played out, and the horse industry went dead on them. So, and they struggled just like every other small town, But they have a cool little town square, and man, we used to have street dances downtown. I remember it was a great place growing up. I hate to see it in the state that it's in. People are just trying to move out and go to better places instead of staying there and making your town where you're at, good like it used to be.
Yeah, that's a story of a lot of small towns everywhere, not just in Texas. But tell me, is that where you first got the bug for the rodeo?
I didn't have a choice. My dad, he was a rough stock, all around rough stock. We grew up on a ranch. We raised cattle, trained horses. I had absolutely no choice in the matter, honestly. He put me on. I guess I started riding when I was about 9. He's like, look, it's time, and I'm like, it's time for what? So we went to Buster Lee's house over there, and he threw me on some, junior bulls at that point. I think he should have started me out on something a little smaller, but he said, no, if you're going to do it, boy, you got to do it right, So there was no choice in the matter, We had a lot of land that we had to take care of, and we didn't have a lot of help. So he depended on me like a man to do these things, but I was just a kid, and I couldn't fill that role at that time, so it was tough.
Yeah. Well, and how long did you rodeo?
I started when I was young, like I said, around 9, and I went until I was in high school. I actually went, when we moved out of the Marlin area and went to Pflugerville. We didn't have a rodeo team, so I was working a half day. You work half days back then, you go to school half day, work half day. On my half day, I was supposed to be at work. I went to another school and enrolled in that school to get on their rodeo team. We were about 3 or 4 rodeos into it before they figured out that, do you even go to this school? And I was like, well,
that's dedication right there.
Like, not really. And they're like, well, we're calling your parents. I'm like, whatever you do, don't call them. Just don't get them involved. Call the cops or something. Just don't get the parents involved.
All right, so it sounds like that you are very qualified to write a song called That Ain't Country. So tell me a little bit about that, then I wonder if you play that one for us.
Yeah, we haven't played this in a while, but I love this song. I actually wrote this with Jeff Smith, plays guitar for Cody Johnson right now. Jeff and I in 2005 were both signed to Showtime Records out of Nashville. And he moved to Nashville, and the label teamed him up with a kid out of Georgia named Casey Kendrick, I believe was his name. So what they tried to do was this kind of Montgomery Gentry thing, take 2 last names, make it sound like one. So they called him Kendrick Smith. I thought it was actually cool because it sounded like a real person's name. So they teamed Jeff up with this kid. But I think his parents had some money, had something going on in the label. He wasn't really ready from what Jeff was saying. He said, man, so he called me up. I was living back home in Waco. Jeff called me up. He said, Rand, I need you to come to Nashville for a couple of months and help me out. He said, I've got gigs, but Casey's not really ready. I need somebody to fill these gigs. So, of course, I jumped in the truck and headed that direction. Got there, and there really wasn't a whole lot of gigs like we thought, So we just partied a lot, is what we did. But we noticed that when we were there, this was nothing like home at all. And we didn't see the hats and that we normally see here in Texas. We didn't hear the music that we were used to hearing here either. So when we would go out, we would see a lot of guys wearing dime store hats, and it wasn't country at all like we were used to. So that's kind of where this song came from. Jeff Smith and I wrote this.